all we'd be doing is passing out food. And we just don't believe that would be a good model. And so through serving churches, by equipping churches to serve their community, there's a whole lot of really cool things that get to happen that way.
Do you want a wealthy retirement without worrying about money? Welcome to the Retire in Texas podcast, where you will discover how to enjoy your faith, your family, and your freedom in the state of Texas. And now, here's your host, financial advisor, author, and all-around good Texan, Darryl Lyons.
Hey, this is Darryl Lyons, CEO and co-founder of Pax Financial Group, and you're listening to Retire in Texas. This information is general in nature only. It's not intended to provide specific investment, tax, or legal advice. Visit paxfinancialgroup.com for more information. Look, I'm having a guest today, and I don't do this a lot, but I'm really excited because it's a 30-year deal for you guys, right, Marcus?
It is.
Yeah, I've got Marcus Walker here, and they're celebrating 30 years of doing some really cool stuff in the community. And so I thought, I got to share this message with you all because 30 years is a long runway, and there's been a lot of, change over the 30 years, I would imagine. And then there's a lot of vision about what the future looks like. So got Marcus Walker here. Marcus, tell us where you work at, what do you do? And then I've got some questions for you.
Yeah, I have. It's great being here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I have the privilege of stewarding Daily Bread Ministries. I've been there for 15 years.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, it actually 15 years this week. And so,
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And so, just to kind of give a high level overview of just what we do, we use food as a tool. And what I mean by that is we work with churches and ministries all throughout San Antonio and now Houston and Corpus Christi. And we provide them with food so they can run food pantries. But the ultimate goal for us is poverty alleviation training.
The training part of it.
The training part of it,
and
right.
Yeah. Before you get in, I don't mean to cut you off, but Daily Bread, I want to make sure that, because Daily Bread, is there a lot of Daily Breads? Or
there is. Well, so there's only one Daily Bread like us.
Yes.
You're hitting on an issue that's out there for sure. We regularly, we're not the bakery.
Yes.
Here
Okay.
in San Antonio.
Okay, let's check that box.
We're also not the devotional. That's a lot of people get confused and they say, they call us and they say, I haven't got my devotional. And it's like, well, it's not us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's our Daily Bread.
Okay.
And then of course, our friends out at Hill Country Daily Bread in Bernie, that's also another, and they started with us, and then went out and planted, in Bernie.
Yeah.
And so we're friends, we share product from time to time, but we're not the same organization.
And so y'all's specific location is where?
Is off of, I was going to say AT&T, but it's not AT&T anymore. It's Frost.
The
Frost Bank Center out by the Frost Bank Center, yeah.
Is it? Because I haven't been there.
Okay. Well, we got to get you down.
I know, you got to get me down. Yeah. And there's been events I've been invited to. I just haven't been there.
Sure.
But tell us specifically where it's located relative to the Frost Bank.
So, as you exit off 35, you're first left onto Belgium Lane.
Yeah.
And we're down about a mile on Belgium Lane.
Okay. And so for those that aren't in San Antonio, please continue to listen because I want you to hear this story. But those that are in San Antonio, I want you to know the location. And it's near the Spurs. If you go watch the Spurs,
if you go watch the Spurs, if you can make it to a Spurs game, you can easily get to us.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so 15 years, and so you use. So I think about I have that ministry in Eastern Europe where we use basketball.
Okay.
To be able to, that's the tool that we use to share the gospel and provide leadership and provide hope. And you use food.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a better tool.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it. And so
kind of need it.
So if you want to reach folks that are struggling in poverty, food is a great tool to do that.
Yeah.
So
how I want to go back a little bit. How did you even get connected with Daily Bread?
So my wife and I were missionaries with an organization called Youth with a Mission. And we met in that. We were in Germany. We were serving in Germany overseas, doing work in Africa and just all kinds of cool stuff. And the Lord called us back here.
Yeah.
And so I was honestly, I was looking for what, Lord, what did you call us here for? Yeah. And through just a series of different relationships, and I just believe that's the way the Lord works.
Orchestrated it, yeah.
I met Seth Keene, our founder, And, I was down volunteering, just trying to do something constructive with my time while I was looking for a job. And Seth called me upstairs and offered me a job. And so that was 15 years ago.
So did you realize that there is a need like this? So let me ask it this way. We think about the prevalence of stuff and resources in the city and in America today, but people really go hungry? Is this a thing?
It is a thing. It's really interesting because I don't think that I definitely didn't know it before I went to work at Daily Bread. Yeah. So if somebody's sitting out there listening and saying, I didn't know that, that's not uncommon. Yeah. But yeah, there are food insecurity is a real thing. It's not and a lot of people think, well, it's a thing because there's not enough food. That I think really the issue is there's not a way to get the excess food in America to the people that need it. That's the mechanism is missing. There's plenty of food I think that exists in our society. Yeah. It's just a matter of how do we get it. And so I think in a lot of ways we're solving some of that that problem because a church is a great way to do that.
Wow. So there's so much I want to ask you, but I always give whenever I have a guest, I give questions and then I find myself deviating from them. So, but this idea of people going hungry and I can relate. And personally, I've never gone hungry, but there's been tough times in my family history, and my mom specifically tells me stories of her challenges growing up, and it's hard to believe that exists today. And it kind of breaks my heart to think that people are struggling there. And so do they just like knock on your door, or do you find that, do you go out and find these people, or how does this work? Word of mouth?
So we, just for clarity, we work with churches and Christian nonprofits that for the most part have heard about us over 30 years and they come and they pick up food from us and they take it back out and run food pantries. We often say it'd be a nightmare for us to try to serve the end user of this product. I mean, we'd probably have a line around the block. All we'd be doing is passing out food. And we just don't believe that would be a good model. And so through serving churches, by equipping churches to serve their community, there's a whole lot of really cool things that get to happen that way.
So big churches and small churches, like, is it across the board?
I'll tell you, we don't, for us, that we don't really care about the size. What it tends to be is a lot of smaller churches, because those are what you find in the communities where food is a need.
That's right.
A lot of our bigger churches are out in communities where the need is there. It's not like it's not, but a lot of the need is found. If you're in San Antonio and San Antonio, kind of inside Loop 410, and then some pockets out in in some of the smaller towns around the city.
And that's that's such an interesting dynamic. And I think about the federal government and the state playing a role, and I understand they have to play a role to a certain degree, but really when it comes down to it, the churches really boots on the ground, understanding the families and sitting down with them kneecap to kneecap, and then connecting the dots. That's what really works, and that's the body of Christ. And so I'm glad that you're playing a resource there. There's a story on your website about a lady named Robin.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that story? Because I thought that was interesting. Yeah, and I like the stories on the website. That helps me.
Oh, well, good. I'm always glad that to even hear somebody's looking at the website is always a plus. Yeah. So, but Robin's story was really interesting. So we kind of hadn't talked about it, but really at the heart of what we're doing, we're giving food to churches so that they can run food pantries, but we're training them to train the people that they meet.
Okay, that's clarity. That's clarity for me before you go into Robin. Thank you for that. So you're training the churches.
Right.
Okay.
How to interact with. So we as North Americans, we have our idea when we hear the word poverty, we typically think lack. That's just kind of how we've been programmed.
That's good. Okay.
But the interesting thing about people that are struggling in poverty, they describe it a little bit more psychologically. They say things like, I don't feel like I can overcome. I don't think like things will ever change. You know, they describe it in different ways than maybe we do. And so, what we've learned, and this has been a process of what we're learning is that we've got to address some of these psychological things that are going on in people's lives, because we can give them food all day long and it's not changing anything.
Yeah.
And so, so that's where the classes come into play. And so
when you do, who are sitting in the classes? The church leaders?
The church leaders are sitting in classes. So it's a train the trainer model. So it's like, how do we train them so that as they interact with people, they know we're showing them new ways to interact.
Yeah.
You know, probably the simplest way to explain that is like one of the things that that we're big advocates for, what's called a client choice food pantry, as opposed to the drive-throughs that are so popular that you see. And I'm not, don't hear me ragging on drive-throughs, because it's like, it is what it is. Yeah. Right. But there's something different happens when you set out tables and you put out food and you allow the person that's hungry to go through and kind of shop.
Is there dignity in that?
There's dignity, exactly. Yeah. You're nailing it. Yeah, that's the point. And so it automatically creates a different type of environment.
I see.
It kind of helps conquer some of those feelings. I mean, if you just step back for a second, imagine what it would feel like to have to walk into a food pantry.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like we need to think about those kind of things if we're going to change something.
Ooh, and when you talk about those deep psychological things, these are stuff that's rooted in even a next layer of abuse or
all kinds of stuff.
I mean, even I think about, we were talking a little bit about this, like the importance. We're talking about like managing energy, managing stress, and just as you walked in here, and I think about I think about, how do I manage my energy, and how do I and so if you don't have food, like sometimes you can't even think, and I mean, cognitively, it's just a challenge. You not only the psychological issues or, I mean, I can't imagine. So your cloudy mind going in there. And so training the trainers is a model that's been in place for how long now?
So, it's something that we started playing with it probably about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've really gotten our feet.
You dialed that in?
Yeah, we've really dialed it in, and it's a lot of fun right now. And so, that model, I would say, has really been up and running at a really good clip the last couple of years.
And so Robin, as an example, is somebody that...
So Robin came through a class. Robin was not a pastor. Robin was somebody that came through a class at a church that we support, and their pastor went through the training and was running a class. And so she came through it was a Raising Highly Capable Kids. That was the class.
Okay, yeah.
Which Focus on the Family wrote that curriculum. It's pretty simple. It's the 40 developmental assets that every child needs to have.
Wow.
It says the more of those assets they have, the more likely they are to overcome the poverty and the situations they're in. So Robin came through that class. It was a 12-week class. And, probably just the coolest thing is she came out of a divorce situation. She's now a single mom with 3 kids, trying to figure it out. I'm a product of a single mom with 3 kids. And so I could really just identify she's just trying to figure out, how do I make this happen? And she found herself at a food pantry, because it's not that she didn't have a job. She just couldn't make ends meet. It's like she's a very common situation in San Antonio to find people. It's not that they don't have jobs, and it's not that they're not willing to work. They're just living in this world where, okay, do I pay my light bill or do I buy food?
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
And so that was Robin. And just to see her come through that, and you can go on the website and you can see the picture of the kids. Just, they were so proud of their mom.
That gives me goosebumps on my goosebumps.
Which is, because it just that whole thing and what that did for her parenting. And she's since gone through finance classes, and I mean, she's a great success story.
She's a rock star.
Yeah, she is. She's really cool.
And she's an advocate.
Yeah. So it's really positive.
Any other, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but any other stories about some people that might have gone through?
Yeah, I was just sharing a story with some board members the other day, because it's it's just one of those stories, and I'll tell it as fast as I can here. But
you're good. Yeah,
we had it was another Raising Highly Capable Kids class, and in that particular class there was a man and a woman that were divorced. They themselves were married at one point, and they got divorced, but they were both in this class, which is really unusual.
Wait, they were married to each other?
They were married to each other.
Okay,
yeah,
just making
sorry.
sure.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. But
okay.
yeah, so they had been married, they got divorced,
Yeah.
and they were going through the class together. And so we get to the end. There's always a big graduation, caps and gowns, the whole thing. We want to celebrate you. You accomplished something. You finished something. That's a big deal. And so so there's always a time for them. If you want to stand up and share a testimony, what did you learn? What did God do in your life? He stood up. The man stood up and he said, what I learned in this class is that when we were married, I was trying to raise our kids the way I was raised. And my wife was trying to raise them the way she was raised, and we never had conversations with each other about how do we want to raise our kids. And that created so much tension in our marriage.
Yep.
And he said, the really cool thing that God has done is when we realize that, we are now having conversations, and we have dreams for our children.
Oh, wow.
And you're just like, you're sitting back and it's like, man, there's not a dry eye in the room as this man is just, and it's like, I don't know if that couple will ever get back together.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that they are on the same page with how they want to raise the kids. And so that's going to start to break the cycle.
There's some restoration there too.
Yeah, exactly. And so
And breaking the cycle is probably something that comes to mind when y'all do your deal. I'm sure when you go out there and work, I would imagine just like every job, you kind of you're in the grind and doing what you got to do. But breaking the cycle is important. I think about even the Old Testament and how God really pursues and loves generations.
Yeah.
And so to see that's happening there.
It's at the end of the day, that's really what we're after is how do we break this cycle?
Yeah.
And we do believe education plays a huge role in that. Of course, healing and counseling and all those other things probably all play a role in breaking that cycle. But education and finance, education and parenting, both have the power to start to help lift people out of the situations that they're in and start to break that cycle.
People are probably wanting to know where you get the food from.
Yeah, all over the place. So,
yeah.
So, in 30 years, we've developed a lot of really good relationships here locally.
Yeah.
Most people don't know. I certainly didn't know until I came to Daily Bread. There's a huge produce terminal over on the west side of town. Yeah. You probably didn't know that either. And most of those businesses in there are supplying restaurants.
Yeah.
We just don't think about it. It's it's just where it comes from.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of excess. That's just life. We have tons of excess in the country. It's amazing how much food is out there. And so produce is a focus for us because if you think about food insecurity, if you think about not having enough money to buy food, most of the time when people, whatever money they do have, they're spending on canned goods and things like that because they can stretch that dollar further.
Yeah.
And so so in that case, a lot of times they're not buying fresh produce, which is really the stuff you probably should be eating as opposed to the canned stuff, And so there is a focus for us on that. We work with the school district here that we pick up a lot of extra milk and juice a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all excess, and so it's just a matter of building those relationships, picking that food up. So a lot of it comes locally.
Yeah.
And then we have some partners that we'll send trucks to Dallas and Houston and places like that from some larger organizations. And
so how many employees?
9.
And volunteers?
A lot.
I was going to say, yeah.
A lot. It's like I probably don't even know that number off the top of my head, but yeah, it's a lot of volunteer power. I mean, we'll send out about $11 million worth of food. I know the website still says 10, but last year it was $11,600,000 worth of food.
That's insane.
That went through our warehouse, and I have 3 warehouse employees.
Wow.
So yeah,
they're hustling.
Yeah, they're hustling. They're working, and
I can imagine. So efficiency,
but volunteer, efficiency is a big deal, and volunteer power is definitely a big part of that too.
I can't believe we need to land the plane here. I just have a couple more things.
Yeah, it's okay.
So obviously, from where I sit, when people's lives are transformed from living out of a place of hopelessness and in Christ, that's really the epitome of transformation. And so
Absolutely.
2,900 people made decisions for Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of our church partners report back to us how many people they're serving.
Yeah.
You know, and one of our key metrics is salvations, because at the end of the day, we can do a lot of stuff that's really good stuff, but lasting transformation, we believe, only takes place within a relationship with Christ.
So that's a collision of a couple things happening. So certainly feeding people, like meeting them where they're at, giving them food, sustenance, and then ultimately walking them through a process to transformation, hope, and healing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just so much to ask. But let me go ahead and land the plane, because I try to keep the podcast succinct.
Sure.
I really want to know how people can support you. A lot of people that are listening, many of them are in the greater San Antonio area. Sure. So can they volunteer? And if so, what does that look like?
Absolutely. Yeah. We like I said, we love our volunteers.
Yeah.
And so, it's a pretty simple process. You know, shoot us an email, volunteer@dbmsa.org. Okay. That's the easiest way to plug in and find the different volunteer opportunities. And we'll, of course, we'll get back to you and tell you.
Say it one more time.
Volunteer@dbmsa. So that's Daily Bread Ministries, San Antonio.org.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And, we get groups that, you guys have come out.
Yeah.
And so, businesses that come out, small groups, churches, whatever, we'd love to have groups come out and volunteer.
So volunteering and I, we transition a lot of people into retirement. I do think it's healthy for them. Really anybody to volunteer. There's a lot of research on that. But also, economically, you guys have needs just like every other nonprofit.
We do. I will say, so we made and this was even before my time, our founder, just this foresight to say, we're not going to ever take any government funding, because it would limit our ability to share the gospel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so we didn't want that to be the case. And so, we talk to individuals, we give tours of our place. Even if you can't volunteer, if you want to come down and take a tour, love to have you down for a tour. I was going to ask that. Yeah. Happy to give you a tour and just kind of let you see what we do.
Okay, I'll do that. John, if I say that on the air, John will make me.
John will make you come down, right? Yeah.
I'll find time to get down there.
Yeah, but yeah, financially, sewing into the work that's being done there, we're saying, every dollar that comes in, we can crank out a minimum of $10 worth of food.
Wow.
And the training. So we run on a pretty lean budget.
It's good return on investment.
Yeah, it's a pretty good return. Yeah, it's like that'd be hard to find in many other places. And so, and I'll just say our greatest need, because it's the thing that fuels our growth, is those folks that come alongside on a monthly basis. Yeah. We love one-time gifts, we're very grateful for.
Sure. Yeah.
But those monthly, this is a finance show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Everybody understands the idea of a budget. You can spend what you have coming in, and so it's the same for any nonprofit.
And it can be $25, it can be $250.
We're actually doing a promotional thing this year, because you mentioned it. We're our 30th year. We set a goal to have 150 people sign up to do $30 a month for our 30th anniversary. So it can be, it's a pretty simple thing, but that helps us just continue to do what we're doing, and it helps us plan for the growth.
And they can go to the website.
Go to the website to do that.
Tell us the website.
Very simple, dbmsa.org.
Okay, dbmsa.org. Okay,
you'll see it right there. You can sign up for a tour. You can sign up to volunteer. All of it's right there on the website.
What I find most effective, this is my experience, is when you're giving and you're engaging.
Yeah.
And that can be even, I do stuff with Compassion International, and I can give them money each month and then step away, and it really doesn't really matter. But when I'm writing to the kids and being engaged, that it's really effective.
Yeah.
So the collision course for you, and I'm just teeing you up, would be somebody who has a monthly give, but also, integrates the volunteering into their rhythm of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's something that they're able to do and that they would like to do, we would love to have them, because that's that's just.
And y'all are good people too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the board I know,
Yeah, we know a lot of the same folks.
Yeah, just good people. So thank you for all that you're doing and serving. I feel like I just really cheer you guys on, and I'm happy to know y'all, and happy that y'all are serving our community and serving the communities that are really, this is not an easy time economically for a lot of people. We call this a K-shaped recovery, where a lot of people that are listening, they own investments and they went up. And so the upper part of the K, that their assets went up. But there's a large group of the economy that's that other leg on the K, where it's tough, and healthcare is expensive, people with what you would consider reasonable jobs are just trying to make ends meet. So I appreciate what you're doing across the board.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you guys, your support means a lot, even just to get to be on here. It's fun. Thank you.
Before I let you go, so last question.
Yeah.
What is your favorite 90s alternative song?
Oh, my goodness. 90s alternative song. Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
We talked before.
Yeah. It's funny because when I don't even know if it's my favorite, but it definitely just kind of jumps out there. When I think of 90s alternative, I think of Nirvana. And I think of the classic, "This Smells Like Teen Spirit." That just,
that's a classic, right?
And it's a classic now, I guess.
It's a classic. I know. I hear it at Walgreens.
Yeah. So
right.
and it's like I'm probably going to go back and listen to the lyrics of that and say, "Oh, why did I say that?"
No judgment here. No judgment. This is judgment free here.
Yeah,
but no, it's just we were poking at each other beforehand and talking about like, man, we listened to some stuff that we probably should have been listening to, and now we're hearing the lyrics like, oh,
here we are.
But thank you again for hanging out with me. This is fun, and I appreciate all that you do. And for those that are tuning in or stayed in to the very end, thank you very much. And as always, I want to remind you, think different when you think long-term. Have a great day.